Hey, what's going on, fellas? Hey, it's RS April 14th, 2018. I always say this and it ends up being the lengthiest video ever. But because it's late as usual anyways, I'm hoping this would be like a quick thing. The reason I'm making this video, not a new thing in my head, but it just never hit me strong enough that I want to make a video about it and basically talk about it. What I want to talk about is really, I want to express annoyance and disgust rather, and how this whole concept of nightclub or disco is, at least the way it is in the US, And I think it's really an embarrassment, shame on humanity. And I think for me, particularly as a Iranian, somebody who comes from a whole different part of the world, I think there's that factor of what's the word for it? Like basically cultural shock. Yeah. You have a whole different preconceived opinion in your mind about something, and all of a sudden you get somewhere and you see it and you see a whole different image, and you're like, you're like, well, that's not what I was thinking. That's not what I had in mind. When I was growing up in Iran, basically, we do have like celebrations, so forth, gatherings, but it's really, really surrounding family and friends and perhaps neighbors and so forth, and usually surrounds like some formal thing, like a how do you say that? Like a wedding, engagement party. Some. And specifically in our case, the Zoroastrians, perhaps, the festivities that we have throughout the year, the Mehregan or Sadeh or things of that nature. And further speaking, then again, specifically in our case, Zoroastrians, this is more like a later on, towards the end of the time that I was living in Iran, and specifically in case of us Zoroastrians, because to create a venue for the youth to meet up, basically, and mingle and have an opportunity to get to know each other, they had come up with these whole, basically a festivity where you don't have to be necessarily a young person, but it would just be like a random gathering where any Zoroastrian can just walk in, and the whole idea was really surrounding the fact that creating a venue so the youth, the young people, the young girls and boys can meet each other and have an opportunity to have that connection, and if they wanted to take that further and perhaps have a relationship, they can do this, because it's a very scattered community, and back then, obviously, I'm not sure actually how it helps still today, but back then it wasn't all these public. We're talking about the year 2000. This whole perhaps social medias and venues to get to know each other, people online. I've never had much of luck getting to much people. I mean, I had. It's just that it never worked out. So, although that doesn't make much of difference, I guess, or change the possibility you can meet somebody in person and perhaps would work out or not. But that's another thing. How do you say that? So yeah, this was, and specifically in our case, this one thing that they had come up with, and I had the opportunity to attend some of them. So aside from that, so we don't really have before revolution, yes, they had these cabarets or discos and stuff like that, but I didn't grow up in that period. I don't know nothing about that. I just never experienced that live for myself. um, what I did experience, and I can tell you, is that growing up and from such a personal background, obviously we were all exposed to American movies, or scenes where you see they have these nightclubs and so forth, and people, all these young people, they just go there and they're just dancing the whole night off and having fun, and there's like a celebration sort of thing that you're just sharing your good vibes with perhaps a bunch of strangers that you have no knowledge of. And yeah, to me that was pretty awesome. It was just like, wow, you just go there, you just shake your body, you're expressing yourself through dance and having fun, and you sharing your good time with other people, no judgment, with some people that are random and you don't know nothing about them, and it's so cool. And this whole perhaps sexual aspect of it, I swear my mother, you want to believe it or not, never even occurred to me. It was not ever in my head. We just thought, and yeah, you can say that. Say that, dude, it's really maybe because you're just not that type. You're not that kind of person. So it just never hits you that way. And I can relate to that. I contend with you if you want to make that statement. That is true with many, many different aspects of my life. I'm not gay, by the way. I know a lot of stupid people. They just like to make a stupid comment. Not that I don't respect gays. That's their own thing. But please, it's my thing and it's their thing. So let's respect each other in that department. How do you say that? But when I came here, last time that I went to a club was like 10 years ago, and what's really sparked me to make this video was that I was sitting in a parking lot, and the parking lot I was sitting in was like it's actually like a nightclub there, and I just saw I think there were a couple or friends or somebody that actually, I don't know. All I know is that a guy and a girl, and they're just emerging, and they're walking into the parking lot, and what I saw immediately, I noticed, is that this lady, if you can call her a lady, she's wearing something that literally is just covering her butt from the back, and yes, all her entire legs are just showing off. And it just killed the whole thing. It just killed the whole thing. Don't get me wrong. How do you say that? No. If I say I don't feel, which I don't understand is a good thing or not, but I don't. If I say I'm not sexually, heightened when I see a girl who is like showing off her body, I would be totally lying my ass. And if I first say I don't like it, I would be fucking lying my ass further. Yes, I do like that. I love it. Matter of fact, who wouldn't? What kind of a straight person wouldn't? But I guess here's the thing about it. Boundaries. That's the one concept that always kicks in my head, at least. Boundaries, right place, right timing, and privacy and discretion of it. This is all these things that are attached to is perhaps sexuality, if there's going to be such a thing around. You know what I mean? These are key factors, at least for me, and at least by the standards that we grow up we're around. Now whether so many Iranians within Iran or outside Iran, they adhere to that or not, that's a whole different thing. But at least in the timeline that I was growing up, and the image that I saw from my surrounding, whether Zoroastrians or Muslims or Christians, doesn't matter. It's a typical Persian culture, in a very sacred spot in the world, with them right in between in the Middle East, or all the religions, if you will, who I know you might consider them from a different aspect, but ideally speaking and primarily speaking, these religions came to perhaps promote civilization and bring people together and create peace and love and happiness. I think originally that was the message. At least that was the message of Zoroaster, which also gave rise to other religions, being Judaism and Christianity, and further on, whatever, the other guy. uh, but no, this is so awful because I just don't understand. This is as much as this is a private place, and you might say, well, bro, this is a club. You don't have to go there. Nobody is a building, it's a private place, and whatever, blah blah blah. But that is your idea. Then again, to me, it's a public place. It doesn't matter. Why do you have to dress like a whore? Why? And that's not all it is into it. When I went to club last 10 years ago, last time I was in DC, and I remember seeing this Indian guy. I'm sorry, please don't get me wrong. I'm not. He's not the only one, but this is what I saw. It was like a Indian complexion guy. He was just rubbing it on this fucking white girl who I think she was like a American girl. And it seemed like they both were having a good time, and to me, that was a total disgust and devastation, I was just like, I was so ashamed of myself, I was like, dude, I would never ever step back into a club again, you can carry my dead body there if you want, but you will never see me within my control, walking there as much as I want, perhaps, and I will, this is the thing, I'm a single guy. I would love to find some venue that I can, have a pool of perhaps different prospects, and I can have the opportunity to, mingle with them and get to know them. And this is the part. Yes, this is the primary thing. There is such a venue as a nightclub where you could perhaps lead to have some kind of a decent friendship that could lead to a long-term relationship. However, because of the ugliness of it, you can't even walk into it, and it's hurt so bad. Why have to be deprived from the opportunity of meeting people? Just like I said, the way that they had it set up this lately when I was growing up in Iran for Zoroastrians, and we can just in a decent way get to know each other and find some decent life partner, perhaps. Why not? Why should it turn out to be such an ugly thing where right off the bat I would feel so ashamed walking to such a thing? No, I mean, the worst part is that you go there, and funny is that it's not even me. I remember it was actually a Persian New Year celebration. That's what it was. And they had rented out this one night, this club in DC, and we were just hanging out that night with my brother in DC, and he actually spotted three girls that basically when he was growing up, being a teenager, there was Zoroastrian also. And he used to be with them and growing up with them, and they were great friends with each other, I think, more or less, at least. And he spotted them, and he started chatting with them, and he asked them, "Where are you guys going?" And he said, "Oh, we're going to a club." I was like, "Okay, all right, cool. Well, I hope you all guys have a great time." And then I was like, "Kurosh, dude," my brother's name is Kurosh, and I said, we should totally go where they're going, and whether it's gonna be them or some other chicks, we're gonna totally have a good time and find some awesome girls, what is wrong with you? And this is what he said. He said, Arash, let them go and be the dirty girl that they want to be that one night. I don't want to be there and see them in that dirty situation. And I said, what is wrong with you? what are you talking about? Uh, we're just gonna go there. It's a Persian New Year. It's a celebration. It's an all Iranian people, and Iranian people typically they behave themselves, at least in front of other Iranians. And how do you say that? We're just gonna have a good time dancing. Hopefully, we can meet some. There's so many Persian girls there. This is a great opportunity to perhaps meet some decent girls and friends. And he started saying, "No, Arash, this is a club. This is a fucking, you don't know what you're talking about. I guess the whole thing was that exactly was an opposition of what I had in mind. That he's like, there are all these Persians there who are gonna do the exact thing that he had in his mind, and he knows that they do it in the club, and he doesn't want to be witness to all these Persians now doing this exact thing. He didn't want that." We eventually went there. I convinced him. I said, dude, how can you pass on such a wonderful opportunity? Maybe you can mingle with these girls that, fucking, you've been knowing them for such a long as friend, and, it could actually lead to a very nice relationship. I don't know. Maybe not for you, but maybe for me. But anyways, we did go there. And I spotted some dirty things from these very Persians there. Actually at the time, I found it weird, but I swear my mother, he called me a total fucking innocent guy. I just never could think that's what is happening and that's what is going on. I just never thought of that way, And later on, 2-3 years then, what's up, man? Hey, what's going on, brother? Yeah, I'm okay, man. Thank you. I'll see you around, okay? And how do you say that? So, shit, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, 2-3 years down the road, finally it clicked in my head. I was like, dude, what kind of you're a totally, speaking of a virgin, basically, you're like a total innocent guy. You're just. How could you not think that's what is going on? He was making a basically very discreet proposition to these girls and so forth, and these girls were, basically, I guess the only thing was that perhaps they felt a little bit uncomfortable to letting it out just like that, because they felt like there's a whole Persian community and so forth right there. They were just trying to act like decent a little bit here or there, just because just right a bunch of front of people that maybe they know at least their parents or so forth. I was like, dude, that's what it was going on. I was like, no, I never thought of it that way. I mean, I found it weird the way he was acting and the way he was talking to these girls and so forth, but I just never thought that's what it was happening. I just found that I don't know, I was just like, whatever they're doing, I don't know what they're doing, I'm not gonna even look at them, I'm just gonna, have my own thing. So, this is a thing, this is not a piece, you go there and sometimes you meet people from places that, you might see some Middle Eastern or, Moroccan girl or some people that that at least by culture this is not us. We don't do that kind of a thing. It's nothing wrong with celebration, having a good time, music, dancing, but why would you have to dress like a slut? I don't understand this one component of it. Why can somebody explain this to me? Why? For the love of God, man, this is one piece I don't understand that leads to a lot of other shit. Basically, some random guys are coming in hitting on you and all they want is just one thing. Why? It's just so disturbing, it's so disgusting. Anyways, I hope I don't know, should I say I hope things will change around or not, but As always, I hope and I look forward to changes, but this is just awful, man. It's funny. Everything in America is just all overrated with superficiality, appearance, and sexuality. You know what I mean? It's just, and it's a very understandable thing. The whole dynamic is geared towards the fact of, disengaging you and, pushing you towards a direction other than what really is fundamental in life, what really matters. Love, I don't know, values, I don't know, family, things that I guess are just lost notions in a typical, average American, family. There's no such a thing. I mean, last time I saw, most guys are either just single, or most girls are just single, or they just have a child that, they get to see somewhere on the weekends or so forth, and they're just messing with some other chick or something. This is not what I want to be. I don't want to have that kind of a future. I never thought this would be such a thing. I saw all these, perhaps, yeah, I mean, I remember when I was going to Iran, the Iranian news would sometimes portray America as this horrific, so sexualized environment where, 25% of, girls who are teenagers and still in high school, they gave birth to, yes, they actually give birth to children. We're not just like having sex, they give birth to, kids, and at the age, such a young age, which you might think is so unlikely of a civilized, advanced society to have that kind of thing. It just blows your mind. So wait a minute, we in Iran, we came up with this whole idea thinking that, a girl, really, she needs to finish her, certainly she needs to finish her high school. She certainly needs to attend college, at least get her bachelor degree, and, she needs to get a job, basically, and she needs to settle, and basically, when she feels that, at least with the basics of her life, she's together, and she feels more or less, same thing with the guy, I'm just saying, but certainly with the girl, she feels stable, and she feels, at some point grounded. Yes, it's okay now to hit for a relationship and perhaps having family. Now, how is it that in this country called America that, people think of it as the top-notch place in the world, how is it that 25% of the, births are consumed with, with teenagers? How the hell is that? And isn't that we're just talking about having, then again, that kind of activity? We're just talking about you actually give birth to kids? There's no way you can let it go and maybe take some pills and just, or use some kind of a contraceptives or something? You can't do that? No, you gotta have a kid too? Really? How fucked up is this society is this? This poor young girl, for the love of God, she's doomed for the rest of her life right there, right at the fucking start of her life, and it seems like nobody cares. Maybe perhaps very likely people encourage her to have a kid, they think it's an awesome thing. What is awesome about it? Yes, it's an awesome thing to have children, as a new creature in your life that creates a lot of positive emotions. Well, for some people, it's a new start, it's a new fresh soul, the spirit in your life, and there's everything amazing about it, but more or less, aside from all those crying, constant crying and waking up at 3 o'clock in the mornings and shit like that. But anyways, man, I guess most of you people, you know what I'm talking about anyways. Have a good night. Bye.